Hello and welcome to 9/11, the one and only truth, where I, T-Mac, review all the new maps all the time playable on Mythical Gaming. That's Mythical Gaming. A link in the description. Starting off this week with an update of Bhop_escape by XDMedi. It was reported by GammaCase fixing a trigger at the start, and it made shadows a bit smoother. These were good changes, though not quite enough to bump the map's original grade up. So let's get into the fresh maps, where we're going to be starting with Bhop_castle by NNGBSU. This is an old school castle wall themed map where there's some classic cobblestone and grass textures that suit the map's theme pretty well. As for the gameplay, the map is fairly simple and uses mostly obstacles that everyone's already seen before. Luckily, the layout is pretty fun, and there might be a little skip here, but I don't feel like messing with the surf for long enough to get up there. It's definitely possible, though I'm not sure if there's actually a route that you can hit to get up there in a way that doesn't involve you pre-speeding. So maybe somebody else will figure that out, but the different block types of the map keep it interesting, and the way that the map contrasts the need for technical b-hopping skills in tightly compact areas with wide open, strafe like you really want to go fast spots is nice. One of my biggest issues with the map is that it feels a bit too long. The map took me a little under a minute and 15 seconds, but I feel like there was a little too much filler segments, and it could have probably been compressed down to about 45 or a 50-second map. Either way, though, good job. This one gets a 7 out of 11. So the next map was Bhop_short stuff created by Koozed, and it was not compiled properly to the point where I didn't know where the zones were supposed to go, so fix that, then I'll rate it, which means that Bhop_woodenxd, created by Lashadqua, was the real second map to come out this week. This map is a wooden panel themed map with some mildly interesting scenery and a vibrant color scheme with very sharp and clean textures throughout. Gameplay-wise, this is a moderately long strafe map with a really great layout that has some intricate and exciting pathways. The map is very memorable because of the scenery and style, and it gives you several options for jump cuts and some nifty skips here and there. Unfortunately, the block types are limited to only square blocks and crates aside from the occasional plank, and the obstacles, for the most part, were minimalistic, though everything was wrapped up in a fun little package, taking me a bit over a minute and 6 seconds. But if you want to see a more optimized route, then I'll direct you over to Rez's channel where he has a 46-second run. Link in the description. Overall, I think this is a nice strafe map, and it's worth a light 9 out of 11. So good job, and next. Bhop_VJump was created by V1NDHL3R. And texture-wise, this reminds me of the old-style orange and gray dev textures that you'd see in some of the really old source maps, but these ones are more faded and more boring. As for the gameplay, it's about as simple as the textures are, containing no real obstacles and very basic blocks that blend in with the floor. At least the map changes the block types and sizes up a bit, so that's a plus, I guess, but it isn't really enough to pull this 17-ish second map up from a 3 out of 11. So, good try, I guess, but I still got a fair amount of maps to get to, so Bhop_fast, F-A-Y-S-T-E, was a map that was put up and then taken down. I forgot to jot down the creator's name, but the map's BSP file is just named Bhop, and most of the textures were not compiled. From what I could see of the map, it is very basic, but I'll hold off on giving it a rating until those textures are fixed and it gets re-uploaded. As for the real map for Bhop_respectable_black_person is the latest from TBH, and it is aesthetically kind of ugly. The blocks don't really look right against the background, and they kind of stick out like a bunch of sore thumbs. As for the gameplay, it's a pretty fun map, leading through some unique pathways and interesting obstacles. The map utilizes boost pads very well, and if it weren't for these glass walls that I always smack into, I'd probably have less to complain about. But unfortunately, they are here, and they do come out of nowhere, and so does the ending for that matter. It was kind of a strange cut into the end that was pretty uneventful after having gone through a bunch of high-flying, action-packed areas to just turn into a tunnel through a doorway. But other than that, there weren't really too many issues, so I'm going to give it a light 8 out of 11. So good job to TBH, but we gotta move along to map number 5. Bhop_Ultra was Snooper's latest map, and it is interesting. The map cuts between a couple of basic room colors in some experimental ways, and for the most part the transitions are cool and work well. Textures aside though, the map has some really neat obstacles, and it does a lot of really fun stuff in very unique ways. The layout is exciting and surprisingly open and strafey, despite making me feel the need to be on top of my technical b-hopping game as I went through. The map isn't without its issues though. Transitioning out of the anti-gravity room, I wasn't a fan of the wall hanging from the ceiling. It felt a bit unnecessary, and like it's just an extra thing to clip yourself on. And the final teleporter was a bit dicey and would kill my speed every now and then. So other than those two specific issues, it was pretty fun. It was a memorable 30-second map, and it's going to get a light 9 out of 11. So good job to Snooper, and onwards to map number 6. Bhop_408 was created by Founder, but it crashed both my server and Mythical's server, so I wasn't able to play that one unfortunately. But I was able to play Arctic Panda's Bhop_Winterland, which was ported by Lashadqua, and as the name of the map implies, this one is going to be a winter-themed map made in that classic Arctic Panda style with a massive open layout that has an intermingled surf map feel to it. The map has several speed boosters with surf options and tons of different choices when it comes to cutting jumps, and even has a pretty massive skip towards the end. As far as obstacles go, the map doesn't have much to offer, but if you're just looking for a fun map that lets you go fast and explore an expansive virtual winter landscape, then this is a good 50-second-ish map, but you can watch Gamebanana do it in under 37 seconds on Source Jump's channel, link in the description. As for the map, it gets a 9 out of 11, so good job to both Lashadqua and Arctic Panda, but that brings us to map number 7, Bhop_Elite_BH, which was created by NNGBSU again, and this map has some blacked out textures which are apparently intentional because they're in the Gamebanana screenshots, but they make the map look ugly as hell, so probably a bad choice. In terms of the gameplay, the map isn't bad. It's fairly technical, though it doesn't really have too much unique or memorable or interesting going on it at all. It's fairly simple, but done well enough to where I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad. It's just a bit below average and a touch underwhelming for a map that took me about a minute. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a light 5 and suggest some more ingenuity, some better textures, and throw in some good obstacles too, maybe. I will say, though, that the map did have a couple of decent moments in it, but there's just a lot of stretches where nothing's really happening. So, nice try, but we gotta keep moving onwards to map number 8. Bhop_Nervosity was created by Godzilla and is a tidy white and glowing blue map which has a very clean and appealing aesthetic. This one is fairly simple and straight to the point. It is a strafe map, and luckily the layout is interesting because the map doesn't really have any obstacles or change up the style of the blocks at all. I did really enjoy the elevation changes and the use of boosters, however. If you fail, it is very easy to get turned around the wrong way. Thankfully, Godzilla designed the map in a way that fallbacks won't tend to happen because of good trigger placement, so that's a plus as well. In total, the map took me around 42 seconds. I think it's worth at least an 8, so good job to Godzilla for this one, but we've got to keep moving. Once again, onwards to the next map created by Godzilla, and this one is the next in the Godlike series. Bhop_Godlike 5 is a grim concrete stone evening forest themed map with a cool mysterious tone throughout. The layout for the map is really good, especially on the first stage, which is loaded with fun obstacles and cool designs. I don't like that the rocks can't be jumped on, but at least that is a constant throughout the map. I also didn't like that stage 2 was really just a long stage with not much else going on obstacle-wise. It was still decent, it just didn't quite match how good the first stage was. All things considered, this was a good, fun 58-second map, and I'm giving it a light 9 and a good job, bringing us to the final map of the week. Bhop_Dead-End was created by Wave, and is a creepy, foggy, abandoned city-themed map with post-apocalyptic or everyday Detroit imagery scattered throughout. In terms of gameplay, this one mixes it up with plenty of different interesting obstacles and layouts with several options for jump cuts and miniature intentional skips. As for the negatives, the map does feel a little bit cluttered at times, and there were a few points where it can be a bit confusing figuring out where you need to go at first, but overall it is a pretty fun and unique map. It took me a touch under a minute and 45 seconds and is going to get a 9 out of 11, so good job to you, Wave. But that is all the time that I have for this week's episode of the Weekly Map Review, so make sure to leave a like if you like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with B-hoppers you know, donate to my PayPal, link in the description, send video clips of your runs that you want featured on the next talk show to jacoby123abc@gmail.com, and follow me on Twitter for updates, notifications, and more. And if you want a little more of my content, a little more of me, just a little more often, then check out my gaming/vlogging channel, TMacDaGoon Games. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Tuesday.